So yeah, the modules is a really nice way to for students to know what's coming up, what they have to do, all of that. So I'm going to first jump in and show you modules in a course from a student perspective. So let me share my screen. Entire screen, share. All right, now you should be seeing Canvas. If you don't, somebody can speak up, but if I don't hear anything, I'll assume. At any point, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute your microphone and interrupt and ask. All right, and I will jump back and forth here and there and look and see if there are any chat messages too, if you'd rather just type out a chat message. So this is a fake course, but I have just some information added in. I'm a student in this course, so this gives you a good idea of what a module will look like. Now I just have something here first. I have a week 1. I have some headings, and I'll show you how those can be added. They are not required, but if you have a lot of module items like this, it just helps students to see, okay, these are things they're going to read. These are things that they're going to do. It's just one way that they can be set up. So here for this student, they see readings. Okay, these are different things that they're going to do. The icons let you know what each item is. So this, if I hover over, it tells me it's a page. And I'm going to show you how to create a page a little later in the training. This is a file that they're going to view. This here is a link to an external URL. So it's a website that you're going to take them to. This here we can see is a discussion, an assignment, and the rocket is a quiz. So all of these are different things they're going to do. So when the student comes into this course, they're going to see that for week 1, hey, these are all the things they have to do on week 1. If there are due dates associated, those due dates are going to be listed right here. So they're going to know exactly what they need to do. They can jump. Depending on how your settings are, this module is unlocked, and I'll show you a locked one in a minute. If it's unlocked, they can skip and go right to the assignment if they want to, things like that, if it's unlocked. Or they just want to go one at a time through things, they can. So for a student, they click on that first item, and here it opens up that first page that I have created. All right, then when they click on next, it automatically takes them to that next item within the module. And so this was a file that they want to read. It displays here on the page, and they can also click the link and download it. Next takes them directly to this next item. Now this here, it's saying it won't connect, so I've just got a bad link in here. It's an old one I added, so something that's not working, but they would be able to click on the link and open that up. Next takes them right directly into that discussion that they need to do. So then rather than jumping around from spot to spot, hey, I have to go to discussions now. Okay, now I have to find an assignment. They don't even have to search for it. It takes them through the module directly to that item that they need to access. So I'm going to click back on my modules page. As I said, this is an unlocked module. The next one I have is a locked module. So here we can see all I have access to is that first item. That way I can't skip down and say, I'm just going to do the assignment without doing any other work. It's set up so that students have to go through one at a time doing each activity. They can't access this second file until they view this first file. I'm not going to do that just because Canvas doesn't recognize activity that I viewed this file until I've been on there for like a minute or two. So we're not going to wait. But as soon as I click here and stay there for a minute or two, it will then give me access to that next item. So that's a nice way to make sure students go through things in the order you want rather than jumping around. This next item here we can say it says Prerequisites Week 2. This I've got it set up, and I'll show you how, to where they cannot access week 3 until they've done all the things in week 2. So that way you can put all your modules for the entire semester up, and they can't just go skip ahead and say, I'm going to do the assignment for week number 13. They can't, because you have the prerequisite, so they have to do these things before this one will open up. All right, so that's what the modules look like for a student. And one other thing quick I wanted to point out, because everything in this course is in modules, all of the other tools are hidden over here on the left-hand side. So you don't see a link to the assignments. You don't see a link to quizzes or discussions or files. That way, the students have to go through the module to access them, rather than I'm just going to go right to assignments tool and I'm going to skip ahead to my week 13 type of thing. All of those tools are hidden, so it's a lot smaller tool set on the left-hand side, and everything is within the modules. And again, that's something that's not required. It's just one way that you can set things up. So I'm going to skip over to this course here. This is a course I'm an instructor in. So now I'm going to show you how you create those modules. I'm on the home page, and Canvas automatically makes modules the home page. You can switch it into different ones, and I'll kind of show a little bit of that at the very end. But if you are using modules heavily, like what I did in that course I just showed you, modules is a nice home page, because then everything the student needs to do, as soon as they open up your course, they'll be able to see that. Really quickly, I just want to show you one other thing I forgot. One nice thing from the student perspective too is if they click on this little drop down next to my week 1, that closes that up. So when I was a student taking online classes, as soon as I finished a week, I would close that up. That way I could very easily, okay, I know exactly which week I'm on, because the ones that were finished, excuse me, were closed up. So that's something nice that the students can do to help them keep track of where they are and keep them from scrolling to get to the bottom. So, all right. So here I'm on my home page, which is also my modules page. So I can access modules by clicking home or clicking on modules. To add a module, that's the first thing we need to do, is just add one. So I'm just going to click on that blue add module button. I'm going to give it a title. Now, this is a good idea to keep your titles as generic as possible, which helps when you're going to import this into a new semester. If I write, you know, week 1, August 28th, well, next semester, August 28th might not be the beginning of the semester, so I would have to go in and edit every module to fix the date. Rather than do that, it's a good idea to keep them generic. Module 1, week 1, something like that, because, you know, module 1 is always going to be module 1. Week 1 will always be week 1. So you don't have to worry about renaming them. This one I'll just title it, module 1. All right. I can lock this to where I have a specific date. I don't want students to see it until that date. I can do a lock until and then choose what date. I don't want them to see this until the first week of classes. So then say, I don't know when the first week of class is, but just let's get this is it. So if a student's coming in early, they wouldn't be able to see it until that date. Or I can just leave it open, especially being module 1, you might not want to lock that. That way, if a student does come in a week ahead, they can look and see what's going to happen the first week. So I'm just going to click on add module. And so I have my first module here created. Okay. The next thing we obviously want to do is add things to my module. All right. There is the ability now, drop file here, to add it to the module. So that would be if I say open up my file explorer here and I find a file, and say if I want to add this, I could click and then drag and then drop it. Oh, that didn't work. I have to move it. All right, so then I can say click and drag and drop that. That's automatically going to upload that here right into my module 1. It's also going to add it into the files tool, because every file you'll upload to Canvas, no matter where you are, is automatically added to the files tool. So that's one nice, easy way to upload files if they're not already in Canvas. I can also now click this little plus sign to the right of my module title. This allows me to add items. So here is my drop down. These are all the different things you can add. Assignments, quizzes, files, pages if you've created Canvas pages, discussions. Text headers are where on my module I showed you that said readings and to do. That's what a text header is. There's nothing to do. It's just a way of organizing, doing a heading to make your content easier to see. External URL, if I want to share a website, I would put that URL in. An external tool, mainly that's used for if you want to add a link to an Echo 360 video directly in. Now, I don't know exactly how that works. If that's something you're interested in, I'm pretty sure that's something Katie teaches in her Echo 360 workshops. If not, just put in a ticket and I can find out. I tried to mess around with it late yesterday and figure it out, and I couldn't do it. I used to know how, but I couldn't figure out. So I think something changed, and I did not have a chance to learn the new way. So just put in a ticket if that's something. Hey, I'd like to share a Echo 360 video right in my module, and then we'll find directions and let you know how to do that. So, so say if I want to share a file that's already in Canvas, I'm going to click on File. This is going to show me all the different files that I have in Canvas already. I will click on that, syllabus, say if I want to share it, and then I'm going to add item. And now here you see that item is automatically added to my module. If I click the plus sign again and choose, say, I want to share an assignment, it shows me the assignments I already have in here. And I can click on it and add it. And so now my paper one's in here, add a new. It works all the same for all of these different ones, but I want to show you quickly, say if I want to add a discussion, but I don't already have a discussion created that I want, I can click on New Topic. And this is the same for quizzes, it's the same for assignments, files, everything else. They all have an option to add a new. And so then I would give it a title. And so say if I want to call this Module 1 Discussion. All right, and then I'm going to add the item. Now this has added my Module 1 discussion, but this is an empty discussion. There are no instructions, there's no grading, there's nothing added to this. It's just a blank discussion. So I would need to go in and edit this to add in all the details that I wanted. Am I going to grade it? What are the instructions? All of that. Now you can see these items here. This is something that I have hidden within. So whatever publish setting you have for this item, it's automatically going to come over. These two were published already, so that's why they have the green check mark. This was set up to where it was hidden until a certain date type of thing, so that's why it has the crossed out I. It is set up in a specific way. This here, because it's brand new and there's nothing in it, it is created as unpublished. Now, one really nice thing when you're adding things in, it's nice to use that published to let you know what have you done and what have you not. I haven't set this discussion up, so I'll leave it unpublished. As soon as I go in, add all my details and set this completely up, then I would publish it. So that way I know, okay, this is ready for students to see. While we're talking about publishing, I will mention here quickly too is the module itself has a publish button. So even if every single item in here is published, if the module itself is not published, then students won't be able to see anything within that module. So you always want to remember to publish the module itself and make sure everything within it are published. Those are the two most common mistakes. Either the module is not published and so students don't see it, or your module is published but one item in it is not, and you just see all the grade and you miss the fact that this is unpublished. Let me see, is that a question? Nope, okay. My computer made a noise, so I thought maybe someone had a question. Okay, so this is just a plain module that has no locking, nothing like that. I'm going to create a second module. Okay, now one of the things I can do here with my module too, if I click on these three dots and then click on Edit, here I have options. For one thing, I've got that lock again if I didn't already. This is where I can add a prerequisite. So if I click on that and then click on the drop down, they need to complete Module 1 before they can start Module 2. That is a prerequisite. So that way I can make sure they do my Module 1 before they're allowed to do Module 2. Okay. And then I update. And so now it's automatically set here. I can see the prerequisite is Module 1. If you have items within a module like this Module 1, if I click on that drop down and then click on Edit, I also have the ability to add requirements. Now requirements are, hey, I need students to do this specific thing or these specific things before they can move on. So I'm going to click on that Add Requirements. Now basically there are two main options. One, they must complete all of the requirements. The other is they must complete one of them. This bottom section here are what are the requirements. Those need to be added whether you're doing the top option or just one. So say if I add a requirement, they need to either, so if I'm choosing, they must complete one. So I have my file. They must either view this file or view this file. That's what they must complete one. I put a list of requirements and they have to complete at least one of those. Maybe it would be something like the assignment and the discussion. They need to either do the assignment or submit to the discussion, that type of a thing. So that's what they must complete, one requirement. If I want them to do more than one, I choose students must complete all of the requirements. That means they have to do both of these things. They also, if you're doing all of these requirements, you can set it up to where they have to do it in sequential order. That means they can't do the second item in the module until they've done the first one. So here I'm going to set it up for sequential order. And I want all of the items to be a requirement. So the drop down shows me everything. I have my files, those two. I have my paper. Okay, I want them to, a requirement is paper one. What do I want them to do? Do I want them to just view it? Do I want them to mark it as done? If this is something that is not graded, then they might be able to have a mark to mark it as done. Do I want them to submit this assignment? So they actually have to submit to paper one before they can move on to the next item. You can set it up to where they have to score at least a certain number of points, but that's kind of a dangerous one because if the student submits it, they can't move on until you've done your grading. That's one problem. Secondly, if they don't get a good enough grade, you have to open it back up and allow them to resubmit and regrade before they can move on to the next item. So scoring at least is kind of a little bit more dangerous one, but maybe we do want them to say, okay, they have to submit to that paper before they can go on to the next item. Finish my adding requirements. My last item was my discussion. And again, I have those same, they either have to view it or contribute to the page. If this is a graded, then you would have a submit option. This one, because I haven't set it up, is just set up as non-graded. So that's what contributing to the page, they're making a post on that. So now with it set up like this, they have to view this first file before they can do the next thing, view this before they can get to the paper, submit to the paper before they can get to the discussion, and the entire module will not be marked as completed until they've contributed to that discussion. So that's locked up like that second module I showed you on the page before, to where they cannot do one thing. Everything will be locked except for that first item. So I'm going to click on Update. All right, now we can see it set that they need to complete all items before they can move on. Now I'm going to publish these things really quickly just to make sure that, and let me change this to publish to. All right, that way I'll show you the student view and you can kind of get a quick look at that that way. All right, so drag. Kind of got off track on my normal order, so I want to see what I've missed or not missed. Now, one nice thing you can do too is if you have a certain setup that you want to do for every module, and consistent modules are really nice because the students know what to expect. So with those sample modules I showed you where I had readings and then it had, you know, some files and some pages to read, then we had to do and it had like a discussion assignment, a quiz, that type of thing. If you don't have everything already created and you're just setting up a course for the first time and you just want to do those blank items like this module one discussion, you can do a duplicate. So if I click on the three dots and then I click on duplicate, that's going to make an exact duplicate of my module one, and it's called module one copy. So then I could come in here, click the three dots and edit, and then maybe make this my module 3. It's going to automatically have all the same settings as my module 1 had. And so then these are copies. It's a blank paper. It's a blank discussion. So that's why these are unpublished. So then I could go in here and just make changes to these items. So if you have really elaborate modules, kind of like the way this one was, where I had readings and a bunch of things, to do and a bunch of things, it's going to make an exact duplicate, which makes it easier to go in and then just make changes to each item. Duplicating will not work though if you have a quiz in the module, because quizzes cannot be duplicated. So you would not have the option to duplicate if there was a quiz in this module. So that's one important thing to remember. It's really easy to rearrange items in a module. So if I said, okay, I wanted to look at that syllabus first, not second, I could click and then it just allows me to drag and move it. You can do the same thing with modules themselves. If you decide, you know what, I really want to cover this stuff earlier in the semester, I can drag this up and move it. I would then, of course, have to retitle it maybe instead of module 3, but it's really easy to basically rearrange them into what order you would like them to be in. Prerequisites. In general, I've got this thing where it must have to complete all items. And okay, it's like they had to read the template before they could get to this. They have to do this before they can do this. A lot of instructors really like this because it does force the students. They can't just skip ahead and take a quiz without doing the work ahead. But you do want to be careful because you don't want to lock students out. If a student for some reason misses the deadline for paper 1, they can't move on to paper 2 or the second module until they've done that paper. So then you have a problem. How do I have to allow them to resubmit late even though I don't want to? I mean, it gets a little messy as far as that goes. So you kind of want to be careful not locking too many things down. Otherwise, it might make more work for you because your student will be locked out. So you do want to be careful with locking things up. Now, I didn't think in advance. Give me 1 second. I want to log in as my admin account really quickly. Okay, so what I want to show you here, this is that course I showed you as a student, and here I'm in the course as the instructor. So here, of course, we see those week 1 and to do, and the week 2 with the complete all items. So this one is set up to where they need to complete all of the items before they can move from item to item within this module. My week 3 is set up to where week 2 is a prerequisite, okay? And so showing you that quickly from the student perspective, here all of these items are available to me as the student. Week 2, because I have to complete all items, I can't click on the second item until I do the first. And then week 3, I can't access it all because I have not finished week 2, and week 2 is a prerequisite. Okay, so that's what it looks like from the student view. Now, one really nice thing from the instructor view, I have this view progress button. Now, this only really works well if things are locked down, but if you have things locked down, I can click on view progress. I can choose me, my student, you know, this is me as the student. I can see here, okay, week 1 is complete. Week 2 is unlocked. That means I am in the process of working on that, but I have not completed everything within that module. Week 3 I can see is locked. That's because I have not finished week 2, so week 3 is locked. So if you ever had a student contact you and say, I can't access this certain assignment, discussion, file, whatever, you can click on that view progress, choose the student over on the right-hand side and see, yes, they're locked out of week 3 because week 2 has not been completed. So that way you'll know that's what the problem is. And real quickly, let me show you if I go back in to here. Now I click on my week 2 introduction. So I'm in here as the student. I'm viewing the week 2. Let me even go next to the next page itself. And I'm viewing this file. All right, so if I go back to my instructor view, and let me refresh the page. Okay, and it should show me that I've completed those items, but because I didn't stay on the page long enough, it's not showing me. Canvas is very picky about if you're only on the page for a second or two, how could you have read the page? So it won't mark it as read until you've been on the page for a minute or two. So I guess I can't show you that without waiting around. But once that page has been officially marked as viewed, you would have a checklist here that would show, yes, I've completed the first item and the second item, so you can get an idea where in this week 2 are they. Are they completely finished? They haven't started at all, or have they done a few of the items? This would help give you an idea to be able to look here at that. So let me go back to the instructor course again. So, all right, so this is the new where I was just creating those modules. And like you can duplicate, you can add, you can keep going. I guess I didn't show you really quickly for adding a URL. This is where you would paste in the URL for the website that you would like to share. So say if I put, well, I got to do the whole let's just do svcu.edu. Okay, now this isn't going to work because I don't have all of the, but still it'll give a good example. The exact URL is going to go here. This is the page name. This is the name that they're going to see. So just say I type SVSU and then add item. So here, this is where they name SVSU. You don't want the entire URL to be the name, so that's what that title is. So then they can see if they click on that, it is going to automatically open up the SVSU webpage. So any page you would like to share, something you want your students to have access to, can be put there. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so that are the basics of the module tool. I'm going to show you, and I see there's a question, I'll go there in a second. I'm going to show you next how to create an actual page, and then talk about the home page, how you can make modules a home page, or to make set up a front page that you can make to be a home page of your own. But do we have questions about modules itself? Okay, so during the winter semester, I had modules set up, but had assignments listed under the assignments tab. Would you recommend incorporating those assignments into modules as an easier and more efficient way for students to access their work? That is a very good idea. That way, rather than students having to go from modules to then click in on assignments, add those assignments directly to the modules. As long as most of your things are in modules. There are a few instructors, especially in face-to-face courses, that use modules just to share things like websites. They don't have all of the content within the modules. They only have, say, some websites, things like that, that they want to share. In that case, maybe you don't want to put them in assignments if you're expecting that assignments is where they would go to find everything. But if you're creating modules like my example, to where all of the different items are in the modules tool, then definitely I would incorporate all of your assignments into those. That way they can have easy access through the modules. And as I showed you, they can look at their week 1 and see, all right, this is all the work that I need to do for this course for this week or for this module. And it makes it really easy for students to, budget their time and figure out what they need to do when, and see when things are due and all of that. So I would definitely recommend putting those assignments within the modules tool. So I see somebody has a hand up. Eva, you have a question? You can just unmute your microphone if you want to ask a question, or type it into the chat, either way.
Cindy, two quick questions.
All right.
The first is that I noticed that in the student view for the locked module, because it's published, you can still see everything. You just can't access it.
Right.
So if I publish the module but lock it, they'll still be able to see everything that's listed there. They just won't be able to get to it. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. It will show them. They can see, just like when I was in on this module here. I'm a student in this course. Let me go back to my main modules page. So I'm in a student in this, and these items are locked, but I can see what they are. This entire module is locked because it has prerequisites. I can see all of these items. So I can still look and see everything that I'm going to be doing in week 3. I just can't access them.
Cool.
So,
and then the second question is, with the module requirements and specifically the score at least function.
Right.
If I have like a quick orientation quiz where it's just set up as a 5-point quiz, the answers are already in Canvas. Canvas essentially is grading it for me.
Yep.
And they can take it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
That's a situation where they could go in, just do the quiz, and once they did the quiz and got the score, they would move on. I wouldn't have to bless it or anything, right?
Yes, that would be a really good. So if you got something like a syllabus quiz or something, and it has to be set up automatically being graded, not something with essay questions or anything that you have to manually grade, and set up to be multiple attempts. And then the student could retake that over and over again, and they would not be allowed to move on to the next item or the next module until they pass that syllabus quiz, or anything else like that that's multiple, some sort of practice quiz you want them to do on something or whatever. That would be a really good use for that. They must score at least a specific score before they're allowed to move on. So
because once they hit the score and Canvas was automatically grading it, Canvas would just move them on and unlock the rest.
Exactly, yes.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. Now that I thought of something else, and now it's gone. The one good use of the what is it called? The student view is to double check on things. So if I have students contact me saying, I can't access paper 1, I can't access paper 1, you go in and say, okay, everything looks fine to me. Go into student view and you'll be able to tell, okay, is it because I didn't publish the module like this one here? The entire module is not published, so they're not seeing that syllabus or that Canvas. They'll see it, but they don't have access to it. And so if you have a student contacting you saying they cannot access something, that would be the first thing I would do. You go to your home page, you click on student view, you'll be able to see what the students do and don't see. So if there was a problem and you forgot to publish something, that would be a very easy way for you to tell. So say before you publish the course itself, go in as the student view and make sure, does it look like everything's there or not? And I remember the other thing I wanted to mention about a lot of instructors, when they create all of their modules, rather than having things like prerequisites, they'll lock it. So I say, okay, week 2 starts September 3rd. I'm going to lock week 2 until September 3rd. And then I'm going to lock week 3 until whatever the Monday date for this is. And that's something you can definitely do. But when I was a student, a grad student, and it was all online courses, I really appreciated being able to see. So that if I worked 40 hours a week, I wanted to work ahead on the weekend. I couldn't work ahead if week 2 wasn't available to me until the next week. Because I believe, actually, and that I'm talking about with your question, if it's locked, I don't think the students do see the items. If it has prerequisites and it's locked that way, then they see the items. But I think if the actual module itself is locked until a certain date, they don't see any of those details at all, because that's what happened to me in some of the courses I took online. So until Monday, and I'm working, I had to wait till lunchtime to be able to go in and see, okay, yes, this is what I have to do this week. I couldn't plan my week at all as far as homework because it was locked. And so you want to be careful locking things up too tightly to where students can't see it. And if you're not sure, are the students able to see the items or not, student view is the best way to test that, just to make sure, can my students see it at all, or do they don't see it at all? And what I'll do here is I'm going to publish all these items, and we're just going to test this really quickly because it'll only take a second. I'm going to go in, I'm going to edit this, I'm going to lock it until, say, Saturday, update. All right, so this module, let me refresh to see if it shows it. This module, okay, it shows it down at the bottom, is locked until June 27th. So now let me go into my student view, and this is module 3. Or it is, so they must have made a change in Canvas, because before, when they were locked, you couldn't see anything within it. So this is nice because I can still see, okay, when week 3 here comes up, these are the things I'm going to have to do. So that is nice, at least they've made that change.
So we can depend on student view being accurate?
Yes, student view will be accurate as far as can the students see something or not. It is going to be accurate. Even here with my module 1 where they need to complete all items, I can't skip ahead to these items because it's set up to where I have to do syllabus template before I can move on. So even in student view, it is showing me that same exact behavior. So
cool. Thanks.
Yes. Yep. Okay. All right. Let me check here. All right, so we're going to skip on here. I wanted to show you because pages are something that are really nice in modules and specifically. And think about this, especially if it's an online class, rather than, hey, I'm in class face to face, I'm giving you an explanation of, hey, these are all the things we're going to do today, this week, whatever. You don't have that ability in an online class. So that's where a page can come in handy. So I'm just going to click on this page and this, I'm in student view, so let me leave it. Leave. Okay, so here I am in my week 1, and I can see, okay, I've got a week 1 introduction. In this module, we will cover chapter 1 of your textbook, and then it has a list of these are some things you're going to do and a little bit of information to give. So it's just like basically a little page where you can tell them what to expect from this module this week, whatever, a little bit of direction for them. And so we're going to, and let me leave student view here too. All right. So I can create a page, a blank page, by just coming into my module and clicking on add and then choosing page, new page, and giving it a title. That's going to give me a blank page that I can edit. But rather than doing it that way, I'm going to show you by going into the pages tool itself. So if I click on pages on the left-hand side, here I can add a page. All right, now this looks like any other item you create within Canvas. This is the rich content editor where I can add a title. Now for a page, the title that I give here at the top is going to show up as a heading within the page itself. So if this is, say, a welcome page, I don't have to type welcome down here also because this welcome is going to show up at the very top of the page. And so then I can do everything, welcome to my course. I can add images like I would, videos, whatnot. Now, one thing that I'm going to show you how to do here is, rather than just creating a page that you're going to add in a module, would be, say, to create a home page for your course. So as soon as students click on the home, they're going to see this as a front page. So maybe rather than welcome, maybe this is something like English 111. So I'm going to put English 111. In here, I could put information, you know, welcome to English 111. Okay, and I've seen people do a lot of really nice home pages. You can add links to files and things you want them to have access to. You can put your picture so that students click on it, they see you. You can put a picture of the textbook so that when students see the picture of the textbook once they've been in here. Anything you would like to add onto this page so that as soon as students click on home, they have links to things they want. It's also nice because then they know for sure, okay, I'm in the right course because I recognize this picture, whether it be the textbook or you or whatever. This works like any other rich content editor, all of the things that you can add in. You can link to files, all of that. So I'm not going to go through all of those items, but I'm going to have to save this page and publish it in order for it to be a page that can be used, okay? So once I click on Save and Publish, this is bringing me to, I'm inside this page. So this is a link here at the top to all pages. I'm within my English 111 page that I created. So I'm just going to either click on the pages link at the top or pages over here. This is going to allow me to see all my pages, which is just that one. But now if I want to use this as a home page for the course, there are 2 steps to this. Well, first, obviously, is creating the page. Once it's been created, I have to go over here, click on these 3 dots, and I have to set this as a front page. So I'm going to use this as a front page. If I don't set this to use as front page, it won't allow me to set this as my home page. So this is the first step, using it as a front page. And here it shows me that's the front page. All right. The next step, if I click on home, Now, by default, Canvas has made modules my home page, which is a really good home page because it is showing me all of the items. But if I want to use in that front page, I'm going to come over here and click on Choose Home Page. And then I'm going to Pages Front Page. And it's even telling me which page is set already as the home page or as the front page. So I'm going to click Pages Front Page. And then I'm going to click on Save. And so now here is my home page. And you know what? It did not set my English 111 title. On the page itself, it is, so let me show you what I'm talking about. When I'm on the page itself, English 111 shows up there. But when I'm on my home page, it is not showing that English 111. So I would want to edit this page to add English 111 in the body itself also, if I want that to show up. Oops. Okay, so and maybe I want to make this a little bigger, so I'm going to, and now I'm going to save it. All right, so now when I go back to my home page, here it shows English 111, and then the words I typed, and then anything else you add to the home page would then be here. And so this is a really nice way to customize your course to fit what you would like to see as soon as students enter. And this instructor training course, that's just the course title of the course I'm in. So you might not need to add English 111 here, because if it was an actual English 111 course, that would show here anyway. So let me see, I have a question quick. Will grades transfer to the grade book from modules? Modules is just a link to all of those items. So yes, if the student does a discussion, if they do an assignment, whatever, you'll still be able to access them through the assignments tool and the grades and do all of your grading. So yes, everything will still go to the grade book. Modules are just linking things directly so that the student doesn't have to, okay, I have to go to assignments and find paper 1. I have to go to discussions and find week 1 discussion. I have to go to files and find a specific file. It's just organizing them in a way that students can see everything they need all in one spot. So yes, these all exist still within the assignment tool, within the quizzes and discussions tools, so you can grade everything the way you normally do. This is just giving access to all these items from one page. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything that I have to cover, but do we have any questions about whether it be pages, home page, or modules itself? All right, one thing I want to show really quickly, because not everybody knows this is here. Canvas has the ability for whatever homepage you're using to have the most recent announcements show up at the very top of the page. So to set that up, I'm going to go into Settings within the course. I scroll down to the bottom and click on More Options. All right, and then we have Show Recent Announcements on the course homepage. I can check that box and then choose how many recent announcements. Do I just want one recent announcement or the most recent 2 announcement, or I can have, you know, multiple. You don't want too many because it's going to junk up the home page, but I'm just going to set it at 2, and I might only have 1 announcement in this, but I'll show you what this looks like though. We're going to click on Update Course Details at the bottom. And if this is something you're interested in, you can't remember, just put in a ticket or whatever, and we'll send you directions on how. So now when I go to my home page, right at the top of the page, it shows recent announcements. Now, maybe I don't have any announcements. Oh, I do have. Okay, this is an announcement that's delayed. That's why. So let me edit this quick. Okay. Canvas is being slow at the moment, so I'm going to not delay posting, and I'm going to save. Okay, so this is a current announcement. So now if I click here on my home page, it shows me recent announcement, and then here it shows that announcement that I have. And then it starts with my home page that I created. If I have modules set as my home page, Again, I have my most recent announcement here at the top of the page, and then it goes directly into my modules. So this is a nice way, if you've got, for whatever homepage you have set up, to where recent announcements are automatically at the top of the page. And so I have it set here for 2. If I make a third announcement, it's only going to show the most recent 2 announcements. So it's a real nice way to make sure students see announcements that you've created and don't miss them by, all right, I didn't go into the announcement tool, so they missed it. And again, you don't want to put too many here because then they have to scroll too far to get to the actual module items. But 1 or 2 most recent are really nice to have here at the top of the page. They'd just be able to click on the announcement here and then automatically go right into it. So that's something additional you can do on your homepage if it's something you would like to do. So, all right, so I see I have, is there a way we can practice doing this on our own? Everyone should have a development course. Development course is just a sandbox course where you can play around all you want and check things out. So if you want to play around and try things out and see how it works, and then you go into the student view to see what it looks like. So that's one way you can play around. Another thing to remember is, say your fall courses, they're not published yet. If you want to try a few things in there, as long as it's not published, students won't see. So you can test things out, go into student view and see, do I like this, do I not? Does it seem easier or more confusing? Try it. And then if you don't like it, okay, you can get rid of those modules. And real quickly, to delete a module, click the 3 dots, and then I'm going to click delete. Now, deleting this module is not going to delete every item inside it, because these are, again, are just links to items that are already in the course. So if I click on delete, are you sure you want to delete this module? Okay. So everything in it will still be available. That assignment discussion file have not been deleted. The module itself has been deleted. So that's a nice way to go in and test out and see, do I like the way this looks? Does this seem like a nice way to share things with my students? And if you decide, no, I don't like this, it's really easy to delete the module without losing everything inside it. Are there content-specific exemplars available to look at? I don't have any specific examples of what other people have been using. That might be something you might want to contact Kumar. She has works with a lot of different instructors. She has worked with some departments and created some template type of things. She might have some really good things to share with you that would allow you to see, what have some other people done? Like I said, I've seen some really great home pages that people have created. She might have examples that she can share with you and show you, this is a good example of what a home page might look like, or how somebody else has used modules different than what I've showed you, type of thing. So she'd be a really good resource for that. Right. Do we have any other questions about anything that we have talked about here today? All right, and if you do end up with questions, you can put in a ticket or email me or whatever. And if there's anything that I showed you, but now you looking at it yourself, you can't remember, I did record this. And so you can go back and view the recording or put in the ticket and say, I know Cindy showed me I could do this or that, but I have some questions. Or you set up a module or something or page and say, could you go in and take a peek at this and, you know, see what you think about how things are set up? Do you have any recommendations, things like that? I'm happy to go in and look and see, does everything look okay or not? Because especially if it's the first time you're using modules, you're not sure if how things are. Let me know and I can go in and look at that if you would like me to. I'd be happy to do that. So, all right. Unless there are any questions, we are finished. All right. Thank you for attending. And like I said, let me know if you do end up with any questions.
Thank you.